Hey guys, it's Anna and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the entire brand new collection, the Colourpop Jelly Much eyeshadow collection. That's right, I said it. Jelly eyeshadows. So if you want to see my review, swatches, little tutorial on this look, super simple. You probably don't need it, but if you want it, it's in here. Alright, so I'm actually going to start off with swatching each of the shades on my eyes. I don't normally do this, but because it's such a different and unique formula, I find that it'll be a little bit more helpful for you guys to see the color pay off, how each shade performs. And it's not like your traditional powder shadow, so I just want to kind of discover the best way to use these. So I'm going to start off with the shade Jammin, and when you twist off the lid, you have this little plastic stopper to keep the jelly formula consistent, because Colourpop was saying not to throw this out because that'll mess with the formula and it'll dry out. So I'm going to start off by using my finger. Oh, that's so weird. Like, as you can see, it's not dripping or gooping anywhere. It's quite solid. It just has a little funny, firm, bouncy texture to it, and it's slightly cooling. So I'm just going to pop this on the eye. Oh, geez. Wow. That is so pigmented. Holy crap. I was almost kind of expecting some of these shades to look more sheer just because of some of the pictures I saw online, but this is intense. And then I'm just trying to blend it out with a clean finger, the edges. So my application is obviously a bit messy because my fingers are a little chubbier than the average brush, but you guys get the picture. I think it's blending pretty well, actually. I honestly kind of was expecting them not to blend, but it's not bad. So I'm actually thinking these are going to be quite easy to manipulate because the more I'm blending, obviously the more sheer the color is going to be. But if you just want to really pack on that pigment, like, it's staying there, and then you can just blend out the edges. All right, so this next one is in the shade Ventura, and it looks white, but it has a really strong violet lilac reflect to it. And I'm going to try using this on a brush just to see what I prefer. Holy crap. That is insane. I will say that depending on how I tilt my head, you can kind of see my skin poking through. So I think maybe this shade would look a little bit better with like a base eyeshadow pigment to it, or as like a super light sheer wash all over the lid. That would look stunning. So I'm going to try to blend this out with a fluffy brush and just see how this goes. This is my go-to blending brush, and it just seems to not really budge at all. It's just kind of washing away the pigment, but I'm still seeing a harsh line. Whereas on this side where I blended it out with my finger, it's still retaining a lot of that pigment, but the edges look a lot nicer. But then I guess you could just go back in and add it all over the lid. And then it is looking more blended in the crease, so I guess that works. I saw Colourpop's release video on these, and they swatched them all on their arm and then tried rubbing them off, and they just didn't budge. So I feel like you kind of have to blend these when they're semi-dry, otherwise they won't. So now that I've added that second layer, you can see these are definitely buildable on each other, so it's not going to break up and get all weird looking. So next we have the shade Origami. I'm so blown away by these. And these aren't creasing at all, which is super important because I've dealt with like gel-like consistencies with eyeshadow before, and very quickly with some of them they'll get all goopy and feel like sticky on the eyes. I don't feel any like tugging or stickiness with these, so I don't think you'll be bothered if you decide to wear this for a day. Now I'm going in with the shade Short Circuit. I feel like the best way to describe this is like a jelly 2 powder formula, because it's really intimidating seeing an eyeshadow in this form, but it's honestly so workable, and I didn't expect that. I will say that with these darker shades, I would definitely recommend going in with a transition shade just so it doesn't look so harsh on your eyes. I feel like with the lighter ones, you can get away with that being like the only wash of color on the lid. Have it be a little bit edgy, avant-garde. Then we have the shades Foxes, which is a true marigold, probably one of my favorites in the whole collection. And then this one is called Once and Floral, or Once and Floral. For all. Once and Floral. And then last two colors are Half Moon and Bungalow. This shade is one of the most unique colors I've ever seen because the base pigment is a purple brown, but then the sparkle reflect is like a teal green blue. It's so incredibly stunning. As for this one, this is obviously a very multi-dimensional teal. The color is insane. I will say though that this one and the shade Once and Floral were the only two shades that had a little bit of trouble building up, but they're still workable. I don't dislike any of the shades. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys real quick. No transferring whatsoever. These have completely dried and they still retain that super wet glossy effect. And now, as a last and final step to thoroughly complete this review, test out this product, I'm going to see how it reacts with powder products, because of course it's easy to make a cream formula just blend on its own, but on top of powder, we're going to see about that. So I'm dipping into the shade Latte from the Tartelette Toasted palette. Don't know why that's important. It's just your basic transition shade, but if it is important to any of you and you're like, holy crap, that is a revolutionary shade, you need to know what it is. It's the shade Latte. So on a flat packing brush, I'm dipping into the shade Foxes because I think that's just the best brush to use for this formula. I'm just gonna pop this all over the lid, and then before it's all the way dry, because it won't budge, I'm gonna blend out the edges. See if we can. I don't know, it's not blending as well as it did on my bare eye. I feel like it's just dimming down the color, but it's not moving anywhere. So I'm gonna try doing this with my finger. Yeah, I think using my finger is working better because obviously it's still wet when I'm just dipping into this and then blending out the edges. Alright you guys, so this is the finished makeup look. I just took a little bit more of that transition shade and ran it along my lower lash line, and then I popped the shade We Jammin in the inner corner and a little bit also on the lower lash line. So it's super simple, but I think it's really classy and eye-catching, so hope you like it. So as far as my final thoughts, I forgot to mention earlier, these retail for $8 each. I think this is such a fun, different, and innovative product for Colourpop. I don't believe I've ever seen a jelly eyeshadow on the market before, at least I haven't. We have the Farsali jelly highlighters. To sum it all up, I love this product. It pretty much is like the sister or cousin to the Super Shock Shadow. I think its purpose and how I would use it is very similar to that formula, but this is just a little bit more fun to play with. As far as how they appear on the eyes, they're very similar to the metallic or like ultra glitter formulas in the Super Shock formula. And I think these are awesome because I think they're quite customizable, if that's a word, to the effect that you want on the eyes. So whether you want a really sheer glossy look, wash of color on the lids, you can do that, or make it ultra wet and metallic, you can do that. I'd say they apply best with a finger or a flat packing shader brush, and then you can blend it out either with your finger or a fluffy blending brush, but I would do it quite quickly because they dry really fast. So be speedy, work on your blending times. The only downfall that I can really think of is that you can only really use these shadows, in my opinion, with certain looks. So whether it's an all over kind of wash on the lid or for cut crease looks, because these can look really harsh. As I mentioned earlier, this is like a jelly to powder formula, so you don't need to worry about it transferring. It dries completely. You're not gonna get creasing, but it's still gonna hold that wet look. Also, just note that if you have watery eyes, it will remove the product a bit, just like regular eyeshadow, so it's not immune to that. I'm already, my eyes water pretty much every single time I apply makeup. It's a beautiful gift. So I've noticed that a little bit in my application, so just be aware of that. But the formula builds so nicely on top of itself. I didn't have any issues with that. We have an incredible shade range, very fun and innovative colors in this collection, and it's affordable. So I think if you're eyeing it, it's a really fun product and I definitely recommend it. So that's all for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already. If you might want to see me in any more videos, I'd appreciate it so, so much. I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!